Good morning, students, and welcome to this edition of Grammar from the 5th unit of the Communicative English book for 12th standard. And today I am going to talk about nominalization. First, I would like you to understand what are the different parts of speech and what is their function basically. Every part of speech, as you know, including the noun, the verb, and the adjective, perform a specific function. To explain in simple terms, a noun is a naming word, a verb is an action word, and an adjective is a describing word. And nominalization is nothing but the formation of different word forms in order to get a lot of vocabulary for us to use in our communication. And vocabulary can be increased by way of inflections. When it comes to nouns, we form the plural form from the singular by adding s or es. That's the simplest rule that all of us know. And when it comes to verbs, we try to add d or ed in order to get the past form, and we also have the present participle and the past participle. So by inflections, what we mean is just adding some n letter at the end of words, either a single letter or a group of words, the end of words to get singular or plural or different kinds of tenses. But we also should get familiar with derivatives by which we get more number of words into the language by adding prefixes and suffixes. For example, we have the word product from which we get productive, productively, and productivity. So nominalization, I want you to understand, is nothing but the formation of different kinds of nouns from verbs and adjectives using suffixes. Let me give you an example of a verb commit. By adding ment, you get the noun commitment. And you also have the verb combine, where you have the suffix ation to get the noun combination. Similarly, from the adjective decent, by adding cy, you get the word decency. From the word honest, by adding y, you get the noun honesty. And this is what we mean by nominalization. So to understand this concept better and to get familiar with more number of words and their conversions, let us go through the exercises given at the end of this particular chapter. The very first exercise talks about linking words with suffixes to make nouns. So let us run through this very quickly. You have the word refuse, for which al is to be added to get the word refusal. Similarly, you have the word decide, for which sion can be added and you get the word decision. Teach, and then teacher. Transform, ation, you get transformation. Weak plus ness gives you weakness. Infect plus ion, you get infection. So similarly, a list of words has been given in this particular exercise. There is also another way of looking at it from exercise number C. So we move on to the next exercise to identify root words. For example, if you get the word natural, you should know how it is formed from nature plus al. So here is a list of words, 10 words, where you have the word survival to begin with, where you have to find the root word survive plus al. Similarly, glorious should be split into glory plus ous. Historian is got from history plus ian. Rarely, rare plus ly. Education, you get it from educate plus ion. Married, you get the word from marry plus ied. And you get another word usage, use plus age. Honesty, already we spoke about it. Honest plus Y. Combination, combine plus ATION. And equality, you get from equal plus ITY. And here in this exercise, even though it is very simple, I want to draw your attention to the fact that some of the words you will have to change the spelling in order to get the different kinds of words. We move on to the next exercise, correct noun forms. So the noun form, you have to use it in the sentence in its correct version. For example, the adjective or the verb will be given within brackets and you will have to get the noun form. For example, the word comfortable is given and then you have to construct the sentence once again in order to get the sentence, this chair is of great comfort. Similarly, 3 sentences are given to you. The crisis will affect every nation, which should be got from the word national. The second sentence, you have been given the word generous, where you have to bring in the word generosity. The generosity of the old man is the talk of the town. And in the third sentence, you have young, which you should use in a different form in the sentence, which should read like this. In our youth, we were active and enthusiastic. We move on to the next exercise, E, where you are asked to rewrite using the correct noun forms of the underlined words. And an example is given from the text, where you have, we evaluated the results. And here you may have to reconstruct the sentence completely to get the noun form of the word evaluated. So the answer is, the evaluation of the results was done by us. Similarly, you have been given 3 sentences. The first one is, define a business strategy. So for the word define, you should get the noun form definition, for which you have to reconstruct the sentence, which will read like, give the definition of a business strategy. And the second one is, identify the nouns. It is an important exercise. So to get the noun form of the word identify, you should reconstruct the sentence in the following manner. Identification of the nouns is an important exercise. And the third one, this article costs rupees 100. And the answer should be, the cost of this article is rupees 100. And next comes another way of looking at it, where the noun form is given and you are asked to get the correct verb forms by filling in the blanks. And an example is admiration. The word admiration is given to you and you need to get the correct verb form for this noun. So it should read like, he admires nature. And the very first sentence is, Jane dash reply curtly. So the answer should be, Jane replies curtly. The second one is, this move does not dash amusement me. This movie does not amuse me. The third one is, your answer dash difference from mine. Your answer differs from mine. We come to the last part of this exercise regarding nominalization, where you are asked to rewrite the words in their correct form. And the challenging word is given within brackets. The title is Friends. So let me read the entire passage with the correct form of the words given in brackets. Everyone wants to have friends, but building a new relationship is not always easy. A few people are born with outgoing personality. They have a natural ability to make new friends wherever they go. But not many people are completely at ease in a room full of strangers. Most of us feel nervous when we meet new people, and this can occasionally make us appear unfriendly, when in fact we are just shy. In any case, the development of new friendships is a gradual process, It doesn't just happen overnight. Long-standing friendships generally have several things in common. The friends enjoy the same sorts of activity and share similar beliefs and values. They are honestly with one another and have similar expectations. They share a boring time with one another and are usually very appreciative of each other. It appears that some are friends because they seem to share a similar taste. Having close friends helps you gain strength in terms of confidence. In order to be a true friend, there are a few requirements such as tolerance and patience. And this is for you to do the exercise on your own, but for the benefit of students to understand the conversion from the verb form or the adjective form into a noun form, I have given you all the answers in italics. Friends, let us look at the second part of the grammar, which is to do with subject-verb agreement. It is called agreement rule. It is very important part of grammar. Grammar itself is a guiding principle which will help us in conveying the meaning correctly, whether it is spoken language or written language. So what exactly is meant by subject-verb agreement? We should understand that the verb in a sentence should agree with the subject, usually a noun or a pronoun, both in number and person. And the basic rule for personal pronouns is when you get the first person singular I, you get am, was, shall or will be for different tenses. For you, it will be are, were, will be. And for he, she, it, third person singular, it is, was and will be. And for we, first person plural, we get are, were, shall or will be. And for you, the second person plural, we get are, were and will be. And for the third person plural, they, once again we get are, were and will be. This is a very basic rule which you should be knowing. But the problem occurs when we come across different kinds of subjects. So the very basic rule for subject-verb agreement is that the singular subject should take on a singular verb. For example, if you get the subject girl, the singular verb plays must be used. Similarly, when you come across a plural subject, girls, you should use the plural verb play. And there are some special cases where we have a difficulty in identifying whether the subject is singular or plural. And on some occasions, we also have a difficulty to find out whether the subject is to be treated singular or plural. Or sometimes some words have both singular and plural sense. So let us go through a few examples before we go into the exercise proper. The first example is each one of the boys was asked to present. Here, even though the word boys comes near the word, the meaning is it refers to each one of the boys, which means the subject is singular. Similarly, you have the sentence much of the problem was solved, where much is considered singular here because the problem is not given in number. And the third one is one of the biggest cities in India is Mumbai, where once again it looks as if biggest cities is a plural subject that is used, but we refer to one of the biggest cities, so it should be treated singular. So these are the special cases which I was referring to. So let us come to the exercise proper, where you are asked to complete the sentences. As we do the exercise one by one, when we discuss each sentence, let me give you the logic behind the particular use of the singular verb or a plural verb, so that when you come across similar situations, you will be able to apply the rules which you have learnt. So let us take the first example. Each of the teams was given a trophy. Here once again, as I told you earlier, each is to be considered singular. So was given is used here. In the second sentence, neither Mani nor Mohan was given a copy. Here you are talking about neither Mani nor Mohan. It is not both subjects that you are talking about. Nobody was given. Mani was not given, Mohan was not given a copy. That is the meaning. And the third sentence, she and I were at the university last week. Here you are talking about two subjects, she and I. And in the fourth sentence, no prize or cash was given to the boy, though he performed well. So here cash is supposed to be considered singular. So was given is being used. And in the fifth sentence, either Sinu or Renu is responsible for the blunder. So even though you talk about Sinu or Renu, two different subjects, you are talking about either Sinu is responsible for the blunder or Renu is responsible for the blunder. So it has to be treated singular. And the last sentence under this section is, one of my sisters has gone to Sweden. Even though you have many sisters, only one of your sisters has gone to Sweden. So it is obviously a singular subject that you are talking about. So a singular verb has to be used. And you have the next exercise, which is filling in the blanks, where you have to understand whether the subject is singular or plural and use the verb accordingly. Plenty of apples and mangoes. Definitely it is plural subject. You are talking about apples and mangoes. So it should take on a plural verb are. Plenty of apples and mangoes are available in this shop. The second one, we have already come across a similar case. One of my friends works in Madurai. The next one is quite interesting, where you talk about 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers, even though it looks like plural, more than one, it is not to be treated plural, because when it comes to distance, you are talking about only a fragment, a part, and it should be considered as one whole unit. So 15 kilometers is a long distance by foot. You have several other things also similar to this, where you talk about money. 100 rupees is pretty expensive for this particular toy. Or you talk about time. 2 hours is not enough to complete this session. So when it comes to distance, time and money, you have to consider them as one unit. And it is obviously a part of the whole. So it should be treated singular. And let us come to the fourth sentence. Every teacher and every student was present. You are talking about every teacher. Every teacher was present. Every student was present. You are combining two ideas and putting that into one. So whenever you come across each and everyone, no one, someone, it is obviously singular. Let us discuss the fifth sentence, which is neither he nor his mother has arrived. It is similar to either he or construction, but here the meaning is negative. So neither he has arrived nor his mother has arrived. And in sentences like this with either or neither nor, you may get one subject which is singular and one subject which is plural. Then we have a confusion. So which subject the verb should agree with becomes a question. So the general rule is the verb should agree with the subject which is nearer to it. So suppose you get the sentence like neither he nor his friends, then it should be neither he nor his friends have arrived, because the verb have should agree with the subject friends, which is very near to that. You have to make a note of this. Coming to the sixth sentence, a number of animals are leaving the forest in search of water. Even though you get the article A there, you are talking about a number of animals, which means it is more than one, it is many. So many, when it is used with countable nouns, it is to be considered plural. So we are using a plural verb here. A number of animals are leaving the forest in search of water. And the seventh one is time and tide wait for none. All of us are familiar with this proverb. So we have no confusion here. You talk about two different concepts, time and tide. Whenever you have subjects combined with and, you are talking about a plural subject. Then the verb also should be necessarily a plural verb. The eighth sentence, which reads like, she as well as her cousins was invited. Once again, you may be misled by the word cousins, which is very near the verb. But here, she is the main subject. She is a singular subject, and that is the main subject in this particular sentence. As well as her cousins is only additional information which is provided here. So it is very important, dear students, to understand, first identify what exactly is the subject. Whom are we talking about? So in any sentence, subject and verb play a very important role. The subject is what we talk about or write about, and the verb is about the subject what we are going to say. So the verb talks about the actions or the state of being or existence in a sentence. So that's very important to make the subject and verb agree in a sentence properly. And we need to correct the errors in the letter which is given. Dear sister, I will read out the corrected form which is given in italics here on your screen, and within brackets the wrong form is given. So let me read the entire letter with the corrected form. I was delighted to read your letter last week. It's always a pleasure to receive the latest news and to hear that you had a great time with your family. Our family too went on a vacation last month. We spent a week at the beach and had much fun on the sand and in the water. But the rains spoiled our mood. But luckily, we had visited many tourist spots before the rains started. My kids are back at school. There are less things to do now. I have to plan for the next vacation now, hoping to come up with some creative ideas soon. Your loving sister, Lakshmi. Here in this letter, it is not only the subject verb agreement rule which you have to apply, it is also the spelling and the pronunciation of certain words which you should take care of while writing. While speaking, pronunciation is important, but while writing, when you come across similar words, homophones and homonyms, you should take care of the spelling in order to use the correct word in writing. And we come to the fag end of this particular grammar item, where once again a passage is given and a column is given with incorrect word and the correct word. And you will be able to identify at least one mistake in every sentence. So let me read the entire passage with the correct form, and the columns are given for you to get the correct word. Let me read the passage for you with the correct form. One cold morning, my class was filled with excitement. Someone had discovered that the next day was our teacher's birthday. Our teacher was the kindest person in the school. Thus, she is the favorite teacher of all the pupils. Everyone wanted to get her a gift. I too wanted to show my appreciation. I spent the whole afternoon shopping for a gift. I couldn't get anything suitable for her. Finally, I made up my mind. The next day, I gave her a bouquet. And friends, let me conclude this session by telling you that this entire passage we have used more of the past tense form for the verbs used. And in between, other errors are also included. We have just had a full session on nominalization and subject-verb agreement rule. We will just have a quick recap of what we have seen. So we understand that there are different parts of speech in a particular sentence in order to give a complete sense. And the rules of the grammar tell us how to put these parts of speech together in a particular fashion in order to convey the meaning correctly. So what are the functions of different parts of speech? Especially we are dealing with subject, verb and adjective in this particular session. By subject we are referring more to the noun part of it. So how are words formed? Basically through inflections and derivations. Hope you have understood the particular concept of the derivations which are dealt with in this particular chapter. Inflections is simpler, which you would have done in lower classes, but derivatives you will be learning all through because you have lot of suffixes to be added to different parts of speech in order to get a different kind of vocabulary, which will be very effective in our sentences, in writing and speaking. When it comes to subject-verb agreement, I would like to emphasize that the subject and verb are the most important components of a particular sentence, because without the subject you cannot talk about anything. So what you talk about or write about is the subject in the sentence, and what you say about the subject is the verb part of it. So both should agree with each other. So we have several cases here when we talk about the subject-verb agreement rule, and many more things are to come other than what has been given in the textbook. But the simple rule is the singular subject will take on a singular verb and a plural subject should take on a plural verb. And the difficulty is only in identifying which is the subject, and if at all you identify the subject, you should also know whether the subject is singular or plural. Once that is decided upon, you can easily make the verb agree with the subject. Thank you very much.